Today I want to talk about how to make money as a freelance writer. Making money as a writer is it's difficult at first to figure out because there's not much online that'll really teach you how to do it. There are some resources that I found, and some of them are useful, some of them are trying to make money, obviously. But overall, it's a process that you can follow and a procedure that you can just once you figure out what steps to do, what to do every day. It's pretty easy. What I used to do before I was a freelancer was I was an operations manager. So a lot of the operational stuff of the banks, I knew how it all worked. I managed a lot of it. And even though I blew the whistle on the banking industry, I don't necessarily hate the people. There are a few people I'm not too fond of, but a lot of them are still my family and friends. But I one of the pieces of advice I got from one of my managers was to treat everything like my small business. And now that I have my own small business, I fully understand. I use a lot of the stuff that the things that I was trained on, the skills that I acquired while I was there, to make sure that I get my own stuff running. That I make sure that I'm making a profit every month, which is really, when you think about writers, it's not really the Stephen King fantasy or the J.K. Rowling's thing where you're gonna write one book and then you're gonna sell it and become a billionaire and then just sit around thinking of the next thing you're going to write. It's not like that. It's like that for 1.0000001% of the people. The rest of the writers, the rest of us, are writing all sorts of things for every day. I mean, every day there's thousands of things that are getting written online, published in newspapers all over the globe. It's insane. So there's three basic steps. There's the pitch, there's the article itself, the writing, and then there's all the operational stuff. The pitch is basically where you get a hold of the publication that you want to get a hold of. I'll use High Times and Huffington Post are two places. High Times is the first magazine physical publication I've been published in, and that was January of this year. And Huffington Post is the first place I was actually published, which was back in 2012. And 2011 I started my own blog, actually, so technically myself. But when pitching to both of them, basically Huffington Post had actually invited me to blog with them, gave me basically a clear to write 5 articles once a week, basically. And so I got together. I didn't know what I was doing, really. I was in school at the time, law school, and so I put together a couple of, one real bad miss, and then I got together some information about some regulatory things I was working on, and just kind of wrote a quick article about that. Then I wrote one that was actually really about my whistleblowing story, and that's where I met a lot of interesting whistleblowers from that article, and that kind of started my whole career as a writer. High Times, basically, I had pitched to them. I had started speaking to the head editor about maybe 3-4 months before I went to jail. And when I was going through court and everything, and right when I got out of jail, I wrote a quick story about what it was, and I sent it to him, and he liked it. And so that was January 2015 when I actually wrote the article. And I never got paid for Huffington Post. Huffington Post doesn't pay anybody, just so you're clear with that. But High Times, I got paid $800 for a 2,000-word report on going to jail and being a whistleblower, which was kind of nice. That was like the best whistleblower bonus I've gotten since I've done it. Most places, about 100 to 250 is about the average of what I get paid. Sometimes I will take stuff that was below $100 because it's someone I know, a cause I believe in, things like that. I'll do things for free still. This I'm doing for free. It's a labor of love. Then after you get the pitch, basically if you want to get it, I guess I'd go through. If you want to know how to pitch to somebody, go whatever your favorite publication is. The Source, Rolling Stone, Time Magazine, Life, People, whoever it is, they will have a website. They'll have a masthead on all of their publications physical publications. I'll tell you who's involved. And High Times, they're all fake names. It's pretty funny. Nom de plumes, however you want to pronounce it. but then find the people, the editors for whatever section that you want to be involved with, and pitch them a couple of stories. You're gonna have to pitch 3 or 5 good stories of don't just give them a great title. Give them a quick paragraph of what it's about. This is your elevator pitch. This is your chance to show what you can do as a writer, what you are capable of. Make sure that you target people that are publications that are interested in publishing the type of things that you do. High Times, for example, is mostly a marijuana magazine, but they also do cover politics, counterculture, things that I clearly represent. Huffington Post did a lot of political stuff. They will publish just about anything. If say you have a tech related piece, pitch it to Wired, pitch it to TechCo, pitch it to CNET, pitch it to everybody that has anything to do with tech. Make sure that you target the people that are in your niche. Look up who you have to online if you have to. It's usually first name dot last name or underscore last name, first initial underscore last name at whatever, HuffingtonPost.com, NewYorkTimes.com, WashingtonPost.com, those kind of things. This is the same thing as if you ever need, you're looking for somebody, you think you have a news story, something's going on that you need to tell the media about. That's how you would contact journalists the same way. Except you would look for the writers too, not just the editors. Look for everybody in that particular case. That is an all hands on deck thing. But as a writer, you want to pitch to the editors. They're the ones that ultimately have the say in whether or not you get published, so they're the ones that can get you the access. Don't be afraid to do some free work. I mean, there are places, legitimate places like the Huffington Post and Forbes, Entrepreneur, Fast Company, that will take free contributions from people, and it's a stigmatizing thing. I don't like using those, but I do use them because you do get some kind of exposure, though it's very minimal, very little validation you get for that, very little ROI. Don't do it for anyone that's unknown. And I mean, if you've not heard of them, if you check them no matter what. Just see, Huffington Post is the largest blog online. They have some say in how they can do things. I mean, technically you're giving free stuff to Facebook and Twitter, but don't give free things to people. People will also there's jobs that you'll apply for where you can look around on places like Craigslist, Indeed, all sorts of places. There's freelancewritinggigs.com. There's a lot of like content mills where you can sign up and get kind of some experience in writing. Some of those, even then, I wouldn't take less than like 50 at a minimum for like 1,000 to 1,500 words. That's my friend price personally, but even starting out, I like 15 to 25 to 30. I think I had done some work for, but it was not worth it. Anything that was below $100, it's not really worth it. But you should be getting as close to 100 as possible to be able to make a living, to be able to get as much work going. Most of these places will get you two articles a week that you can work on with quality. If you're doing real journalism and things like that, 2 articles a week of about 1,000 to 2,000 words is legitimate. If you're just cranking out marketing content, it's going to be 2 a day that you're going to have to push out. How you do that, how you balance that is up to you. A lot of ghostwriting, what ghostwriting does pay. I do a lot of ghostwriting, but at the same time, it doesn't build up my web presence. My web presence suffers because of it, and which is why I'm making these videos. Part of why. After that, you've got to write the story. The story is, you've got to hit whatever the target is, hit what range they tell you. There are content mills, there's places, marketing places, SEO places, content marketing places that I've worked with that I still do work with, that keep databases of who's got what, who wants what tone, what to use, what not to do, what grammar, what format, whether or not links are allowed, things like that. Just know what their format is, follow it, read their stories if you have to figure out what it is that they look for. Put your own voice into it, but do it their way. That's kind of how it works. Everyone makes concessions, and they will be editing you. For example, High Times went through about 4 rounds of edits, I want to say, before it finally went through, and I didn't get final approval on any of it, so a lot of the stuff that went in there is that there's little changes where I laugh at it when I read it, but you know, it is what it is. He had to make it better for a wide audience that did not know jail speak, which you would think High Times would not be reaching that audience. But yeah, so make sure that you get it in early, get it in on time, whatever date they tell you. Try to get it in as early as possible. Get all the sources. Make sure you can back up everything that you do. Give time to if you need to source things. Help a Reporter Out is a great resource to use for that. Free resource. If you need to, if you start getting a lot of work, you can start, subcontracting out some of your work. So you get $150, $200 for an article. You pay someone else $100. You still make $50 to $100, and all you're doing is editing what someone else did. But you got to find quality writers for $100. Otherwise, you're throwing it away. You can pay someone new $50 and still be well ahead of what they probably are working for, and be a great boss, as long as you can provide consistent work. So make sure you always follow your word. No matter what in business, always follow your word. Wendy Day from the Rap Coalition, I have to give her a shout out, but that was one thing that she drilled into my head during the times that we've talked, is make sure you always follow your word. And that's important in every business, but writing especially. When your word is your living, your word is bond, word is everything. So make sure that if you tell someone it's going to be in by Monday, turn it in by Monday. Don't make excuses. Get it in by Sunday if you can, so they can wake up Monday morning and it's there. And that is how I built up a lot of my my clientele and my referral traffic from that. After that, all the operational stuff is making sure that you invoice people, send them whatever information they need. Sometimes they have to fill out contracts before the writing's done, or before you get into a long-term arrangement. Some of the short-term ones, even, they have a quick contract they make you fill out and sign. Get all that stuff done. Have a way to archive all that stuff. Make sure that you have some a good file system. You're going to have invoicing that you have to send different ones. Make sure you just get a standard Word doc that's got an invoice thing. Get a calendar set up so that you can who owes you what when, and follow up. Some people take 8 months to pay. Some people will pay you the next day, and it's, you got to balance out that's the part about being a freelancer, is you have to balance who's going to pay when and who's consistent. It's kind of like someone runs out of the bill and you had that income meant for something, you're kind of fucked. So you got to build up enough and learn how to manage your money in a different way than you used to. I pay ahead on a lot of my bills, my major ones especially. I pay ahead just to make sure that I don't ever fall behind. If I have a bad month, at least all I have to worry about is getting some food. But other than that, all my bills are paid. I don't have to worry about it. I've got a couple months to figure it out. Gives you a little cushion. But other than that, if you have any questions, there are more things involved in writing and having a career as it, making money with it. But if you have any questions, let me know, and I will do my best to answer them.